Hello, Facebook! This is my first Facebook Live broadcast. I think I've done it before for some of my clients, but I haven't done it before publicly for all of my friends on my Facebook page. So, hi. I am doing this Facebook Live today because people have been asking me a little bit about my Whole30 experience, but also, hi Oscar. Oh, this is fun. So you can see who's coming. I've seen Facebook Lives, but I've never done them before. So this is fun. It's a good girl confession. Because I wanted to talk a little bit about the good girl, and so why not talk about how the good girl is operating in my life this week? So in April, I started Whole30 with Matt, and some of you have seen some of Matt's posts about the Whole30. And it started off, we were like, all right, we're gonna do this. And we created menus together, we've been cooking together. There is a lot of good that has come from the Whole30. And so before I get into this a little bit more, I want to say this post or this Facebook Live broadcast isn't actually about demonizing the Whole30. It's not even saying that it was a bad idea. It's not that. It's just I want to just explain what happened for me, and hopefully some of what I have to share might help somebody else. So this entire week, so today is April 21st, which means that I have done the Whole30 for, fully 20 days, but today I'm going off Whole30. So that is why my Whole30 became Whole20. Now, if you're wondering what the Whole30 is, it's 30 days. There was a book that was put out about this program. A lot of people have been talking about it. I have a really good friend, Linda, who's done it like 6 times. People have loved this program. So the Whole30 is 30 days of whole foods. Right? So nothing processed, no sugar, no soy, no legumes, which like from peanuts to beans, no dairy, no grains, no chemicals, right? So a lot of rules. And I have to say, of course, my good girl loves rules because I know exactly, it's yes or no, it's black or white, there's rules. So I liked that part. So that's what the Whole30 is, and my good girl confession is that I'm quitting. I'm quitting Whole30 after 20 days. And you might be wondering why. Why am I quitting? Well, in this entire week, I have been feeling this incredible. Oh, no alcohol. Matt is telling me no alcohol. Yeah, that there's none of that on this plane either. And no, not vodka either. Nothing. No alcohol at all. No sugar, nothing. So, okay. So, it's fun to see all your comments on the side. All week, agonizing. Do I quit? Do I not quit? Do I quit? Do I not quit? Am I going to do this? Am I not going to do this? Now, I want to say my decision to quit was not like I just need some pizza right now and I'm quitting right now and I'm gonna eat this thing that's in front of me, or going out to dinner and just saying to hell with it and I'm gonna eat what I want to eat. It's been an agonizing decision. Why? Why the agony? Because I was fighting with my good girl. My good girl who says, you cannot quit this program. You are not a quitter. You need to finish it out. You need to do this to the end. because quitting is somehow bad, according to my good girl. Now, in my good girl work, some of you have done it with me and some of you haven't. So if you haven't, we take the good girl archetype, meaning like the energy of the good girl, and we break it down into sub-archetypes. So two of the sub-archetypes of the good girl, two have been playing out really big in my life this week. One would be the judge, right? It's black or white, right? You do this or you don't do this. And the judge, who really loves the very strict rules of the Whole30, is like, it's clear. You do and you finish like you said you were going to, or, and then a slew of like names and things that my judge would say if I didn't finish. So that's one part that's been operating. Second part is the guilty daughter, right? The guilty daughter who at her core is a pleaser, who cares about what everybody else is going to think. Like, what are people going to think of me if I quit? What are my friends who've done it? What are they going to say? Are they going to think I don't have any willpower? Are they going to think that I was a wimp? Are they going to think, really, who cares? Who cares? But we do care. Like, we do think about what other people are going to say about us. We care how we're perceived on Facebook, which is kind of why I was like, well, I've never done a Facebook Live before because it feels a little scary to just start talking to your computer and have to actually stare at your face. I don't know if there's another way to not have to stare at your face while you're talking, but someone can teach me that later, because it can be a little distracting. But anyway, we do care. So that's where it comes up. And because we don't want to disappoint people. So here's the other thing. I got my husband to do this with me at the last minute. Like, begged him to do it with me. And he said yes, because he's awesome. And he says yes, he does it with me. And now I'm the one who's backing out. Like, I'm the one who's going to quit. Yeah, so these are all the things. Now, some of you have heard me talk about the visibility gremlins, right? And so the visibility gremlin is the wishy-washy, right? Who's come up, who's like going back and forth, cannot make a decision. And finally I was like, all right, let's take a step back and let's really look at what's happening here. What is actually happening for me right now with this Whole30 thing? And this is what has started to happen. The first week, like the first day, just like they say it's like, I can do this, no problem. Like, I made this great meal. There's lots of good foods I can eat. It's easy. And then really probably day 3, felt hard. And I probably had some little sugar detox going on. Nothing bad, but I don't really feel good. By day, 4, 5, 6, 7, I was tired, really tired. And then then the whole second week, I didn't feel terrible by any means, but I just didn't feel great. And, there's a lot of prep, there's a lot of work involved, which is fine because I love to cook, but there was nothing that I was enjoying about this process at all. And then this week, here's the truth. I love food. It's like cooking is part of my creativity. And ironically, having these rules kind of sucked the joy out of everything for me, to be honest. And Matt and I just started becoming kind of ornery with each other. And I just yes, like Bambi, what you're saying, like a sucky outlook. Like I just kind of started feeling icky. And I also started to not like food, right? So I am not a person that can eat the same thing every day. I know that lots of people are all about that, but for me, that is like, maybe it's because I'm an Aquarius, it's torture. And I started looking, like Matt would make me eggs, and I was like, I can't eat them. I can't eat it again. I just started taking all of these same foods and I just couldn't eat them. Now I read, because of course I'm a good girl, I read everything there was to read about these stages, and it said food boredom is a big thing. So I started looking up different recipes that we could make, but I just started feeling depressed and kind of sad, and I just didn't look forward to eating. I just knew I was like forcing myself to eat because I know you have to eat. And then on top of this, I have a lot of things going on in my life right now. Like, I picked April to sort of look at some of this stuff because I was going to be home, right? Which many of you know that I'm not always, there's not a lot of months I'm completely home. But in this month of being home, I have all these things going on. The Bye Bye Good Girl getaway, the deadline for the early bird is coming up, so I've been talking about that and promoting that. I'm thinking about doing a public course in June, so we've got to like write copy for that. And a lot of you know I'm going to be in Santa Fe, and so I'm like making schedules for the team. Like, there's all these things that have to go on. It feels like a crunch time, and you know that is part of life. It is a crunch time. It's stressful, and I haven't been sleeping, to be honest. I've been waking up. Now, I don't know if that is just stress or if that's something with the diet. And I know there's lots of people that would say, oh, you got to stick with it so that you can get to this other place. But I started asking myself, what is the other place that I'm trying to get to when I'm feeling pretty miserable right now? So then I looked at, because this is where you have to go back to the basics of intention. So I asked myself, why did you start this Whole30 to begin with? Actually, Matt was asking me, why are we doing this again? Why? Why are we doing this? Yeah, that's a good question. So the answer is that in March, probably because we had gone on vacation, you know, when you go on vacation, you eat all kinds of things you normally don't eat. So I'd come back from that and I thought, you know what? I have never done a full sugar like detox. Like, I know sugar is not good for you. I try not to eat that much of it. But let's cut out some sugar. And then I had this other thought, because I actually care a lot about nutrition. I read a lot. I used to do some health coaching. And I wondered, because there's all this controversy around dairy, and I love dairy. Now I try to eat organic, grass-fed kind of dairy, but I love dairy. And some people cannot tolerate it. I had this belief that I can tolerate it, that it doesn't bother me at all. But in some ways I felt like, well, I don't really know, because I've never gone off of it, ever. And I wondered the same thing about gluten, because, you know, gluten can be really bad for people. I haven't really noticed anything, but maybe that's because I've never gone off it. So I decided I was kind of going to go off some of these things just to see what would happen. And here's the truth. Like 2 days before April 1st came, somebody was like, oh, you should do the Whole30. And I was like, oh, what's that? And I looked it up and I was like, okay, it seems pretty, yeah, maybe I should do that. I can tell you that I was not super conscious and prepared in making that decision. Like, you really should prep and decide the day before. I mean, I told Matt the day before we went on this, because of course we decided we're going to go on this. So the day before, what did we do? We went out and we ate pizza. And then we walked across the street where there's a chocolate shop, and we're like, well, we're not going to have that. We might as well have that. And then as we're reading on our phones about this Whole30 thing, I was like, wait, you can't even, did you know that there's sugar in bacon? I'm like, I wonder if the bacon that we have has sugar in it. Well, guess what? It did. And what are you going to do the night before you go on Whole30 when you have a brand new package of bacon that you can't eat for 30 days? Well, you cook it up at like 9 o'clock at night and eat it with your chocolate and wine. But anyway, that's just the bender we went on before. So we started this Whole30 as like an experiment to see what would we feel different? Would we feel better? What is it like? And as I look out and see that I'm going to be going to Santa Fe, I realized like 2 days before I'm supposed to end this, I was like, well, I'm not going to have time for like the integration phase to figure out if my body reacts to dairy, not to mention that I'm miserable. And then I just realized it didn't make sense for me to continue on when I have actually gotten what I need to get. I have detoxed from sugar for basically 20 days. I have detoxed from dairy for 20 days. I've detoxed from grains and legumes and alcohol, all of it for 20 days. Now I'm going to slowly add things back in and see how it affects me. And I had to just say to my good girl, you know what? It's okay for you to stop. You are not failing. You are doing what is best for you, not like what this program thinks I need to do or what I think other people will think of me. And so that's ultimately where I am. I've learned a lot about the crap that is in processed foods. I thought that I understood that processed food was bad, but I didn't realize how much is in things, even health foods. That was shocking to me. I've really enjoyed cooking more and cooking with Matt and being at home and doing that together and, you know, eating that whole ritual. I've loved that. So there's, and my relationship with food, right? Like, cause I used to, you know, sugar particularly. I didn't eat a lot, but I like chocolate. So I would eat chocolate and feel that like need to have something sweet. And I don't feel that now, not to say that I'm not going to eat chocolate, because I'm going to eat chocolate again. And I'm going to drink some red wine again. And I'm probably going to have some bread. And I'm probably going to have some cheese again. Because like, yes, like Kimberly, like you're saying, like moderation. And I also want to feel that freedom of creating. And it might be possible intuitively that eating this restrictively isn't good for my body. I didn't feel the big benefits. I think that I didn't start it because I had a health condition. I didn't start it because I needed to lose weight. I just started it because I was curious. And I think that's one of the big lessons for me, and why I'm sharing this, is that sometimes we have to just look at, like, why are we ping-ponging back and forth on something? Because yes, I'm talking about the Whole30, this whole thing, and I think the Whole30 plan is good. This isn't actually about food. This is about the struggle that I went through trying to decide whether I was going to quit or not, and having guilt and worry about what that meant. So my hope is that perhaps for you, that you might think about, what in your life right now are you ping-ponging about? Like, should I do this or should I do that? Is it this or is it that? And you can't make up your mind or move forward, or you're in agony because you can't decide. And if that's the case, then I want you to sort of look at, well, what are those drivers, right? That's when I realized it was my good girl judge and my good girl guilty daughter that told me I couldn't quit. And it wasn't actually about looking at, well, what was the whole purpose of this to begin with? What was my original intention? And is it okay for me to not follow the rules? And considering I'm all about saying bye-bye to the good girl and shedding the shitty list of shoulds, I'm quitting Whole30. And we have a almond flour crust that we're going to be making the dough for tonight, and we're starting with dairy because that's the one I wanted to find out about. And so I'm going to put some cheese on a pizza tonight, and I'm going to see what happens. And I can't tell you how freaking excited I am about eating this pizza. So that's what's happening. And I would love for you to hear your comments. I'm going to read all of them. If you're watching this later, tell me what you think. And also look at, is there something that you're ping-ponging about in your life, like that you can't decide? And tell us what it is. Maybe we can give you some questions or answers or thoughts. Thank you for watching my first Facebook Live, and yeah, I'm gonna go eat some pizza right now. All right, bye everybody.